we are finally back. It's been a little while, but we are ready to continue Massive Nyarlathotep. This is episode 60. Crazy. And I guess it's not surprising that all three investigators are people that did not start this campaign back when it started. The lineup has changed. Well, let's pick up where we left off. I had to remind myself where we were because it was a bit ago. Yes, Lottie is... wait, is it William and Maxine, or I guess it's Maxine
me and Ingrid.
and Ingrid are down in the basement of the tea shop, while William and Lottie keep watch up above.
I think Will's in the alley.
Yeah. I didn't move anybody, so let's go back, and everything should be as it was. So yeah, William is in the alley. Lottie, I guess you were maybe crossing over from across the street at this point.
No, she's still keeping lookout. Like she
still
doesn't
keeping
know.
lookout from across the street. All right.
Yeah,
yes, William's in the alley. Ingrid, is down there.
William is smoking a cigarette, and he's kind of glancing over at Lottie for any kind of hint
sign of trouble. Sure, yeah. Makes sense. And as I recall, Ingrid and Maxine had just opened up this sort of giant locker thing. And among other stuff, right on top, there was a little sheaf of photographs. And it turns out those photographs are of Maxine, William, and Lottie in Cairo. And as you look through them, too, there's a couple of them of the lot of you getting on a ship at Port Said, and you recognize it as the ship you got on as you were leaving for Kenya.
Max is angry, but at the same time not terribly surprised.
And the pictures are labeled.
Oh, interesting. She hands one to Ingrid. This lady's definitely been on the lookout for us. And then she just kind of tries to scoop up the whole pile of photos and shove them in her bag. Is there anything else in the cabinet?
Oh, yes, there's a few things. You note there's a fairly large number of assortment, pretty haphazardly stacked, of candles and little cone-shaped wax or stuff. I don't know if Maxine would recognize incense cones, but that's what they are.
Maybe if they have them at clubs in Chicago.
Maybe, yeah. There's also a rather prominent meat cleaver on top of the candles that looks like it's got some dark stains on the blade from frequent use. There's also a little jar in there with what looked to be some dried fruit or leaves or something in there. Not really quite sure what that is, but that's, one of the things. And also under the photographs, there's an old worn book.
Well, Max is dying of curiosity, but she looks kind of over Ingrid's shoulder toward the stairs. And she starts filling up her bag and then says, Ingrid, open your bag.
Yeah, she's a little mesmerized by the photographs. You kind of took them but she grabbed a couple as you were grabbing them too and putting them in your bag, and she's just looking at it and she says, this is you.
Yeah, I told you. It's the same. Don't you get it? they're all over the world. They knew who I was in Egypt, and I guess maybe they sent photos wherever they thought we was headed. So that people here, their people, would be able to recognize us.
She's clearly processing that and hands you the photos sort of absently. And then she kind of remembers you asked her to open her bag and looks down and kind of slowly opens it, but you can see her focus is somewhere else. She's thinking.
Look, I'm sure there's some more clues here. I'm not sure what any of this stuff is, but she holds up the book. There might be some answers in here, and she kind of shoves it in Ingrid's bag. She puts some of the cones, whether or not she recognizes it as incense, she would be curious about it. Starts putting some of that in there, and reluctantly she picks up the cleaver. I don't really want this, but I ain't leaving it for her either.
He said we should get out of here. I don't feel good about this.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Max looks
she's
around.
She's glancing over at that weird statue over here, too.
She looks over at the statue, and then back at Ingrid. Don't look at it, Ingrid. Just give me a minute. You know, she's not going to completely clear it out. Like, she doesn't care if she gets every jar or every cone of incense,
sure.
But a little bit of all that stuff, and definitely the book.
Okay.
And she's just in a rush, shoving it all in, and as soon as she's done, she'll say, "All right, Ingrid, let's head upstairs."
Okay, she nods and just you can tell she's kind of just following along almost robotically with you, because you can see her mind is this is a lot for her to take in.
Yeah. As Ingrid starts climbing the stairs, Max fumbles around and finds that canteen that she'd filled with kerosene last session, and she makes a little drizzle as she walks up the stairs.
Okay.
And
Ingrid watches you pouring that on the floor, and she says, "Are you going to?" And she says, "Oh my God!" And she points to the floor, and she says, "Don't you see that?"
See what?
You don't see anything weird about the floor. She says, "It's not even. There are small bumps in the floor, like grave sites."
Bumps in the floor like grave sites? I mean, Max, point the flashlight. I don't see what you're talking about.
Yeah, so she shines the flashlight. She walks over and she shines it along a section here and then a section here, and you can kind of start to see what she's getting at. The floor looks a little discolored. It was subtle, like it's been dug up and then repacked in, and it's not even. And you can see that they're like little oblong mounds, maybe a little less than a couple yards from top to bottom in length.
Oh, God, I think that's exactly what they are, Ingrid. She looks over at the altar. I mean, there's them manacles there, and that's not ketchup on them. Look, it was your friend who died. But let me tell you this. She's gonna know I was here. There's no way we're gonna keep this a secret. We got two options, way I see it. If there's bodies in here, it's possible. I mean, this has never worked for me before. There's always seemed to slip out from under the authorities, but we could try to turn her in. Try to get somebody to come down here and search. The other option is we fight fire with fire. She kind of holds up the canteen. Give us something to remember us by.
Yes. She nods. You're not. I'm not sure you know what her nod means, but she's nodding in some agreement.
All right, Ingrid, head up the stairs.
You can see she's a little reluctant to do that, but she does. She goes up hesitantly, kind of shining her flashlight back to you and then ahead and moving a few steps and then stopping and shining back to you again.
Ingrid, I know this is a lot to take in. Jeez. What's it gonna be, the police or the fire?
Haven't you said that the police can't be trusted?
Sometimes. Sometimes they're just really good at covering the tracks.
I don't know. I just want to get out of here.
All right, let's get you out of here. So yeah, she'll just had to head back up, sort of thinking, mostly now focused on Ingrid not losing her crap.
And you can see at this point here, the last possible point to see the statue. She shines the flashlight on the statue one more time, and she kind of lingers with it, and you can see the look on her face. There's just something deeply upset about her features. There's something is upsetting her, but she looks like she's like frozen in place for a moment.
Max wants to ask her what she's thinking, but knows this isn't the time for a conversation, so she just kind of nudges her forward.
Yeah, once the line of sight is broken, she seems to snap out a little bit and heads to the ladder and makes her way up.
And Max follows her up in there. And she looks at Ingrid and looks around at this place. Come on, Ingrid. And she kind of still drizzles a line, just a thin line of the kerosene headed toward this door in the alley.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She cracks it open and looks for William.
He takes a drag off his cigarette and glances over to her. Kind of a worried look on his face as he starts to slowly step that way. Everything all right?
Max kind of just gestures with her head for him to get closer.
Yeah, he heads on over to her kind of quickly.
Look, William, we found some stuff here. Serious stuff. She's gonna know we was here. There's no way around it. I think a little payback's in order, but she looks back at Ingrid. I don't know if she's gonna be able to make a dash for it once I do what needs to be done. She's still processing it all, you know.
Are you talking about me? She says, what are we going to do? Let's get out of here. Why are we still talking about this? Something bad is going to happen. I can feel it.
You and Lottie, you need to head back to the hotel.
I'm not leaving you
need to
here.
get-
Are you crazy?
I'm not staying here. I'm just giving you a little head start. William, go get the stuff from the hotel, the important stuff. Maybe have the rest of it. Tell the hotel to send it to the embassy. We can collect it later. And then I gotta meet you someplace. Maybe the mission. I'll head to Kenyatta's, tell him to call driver and have him meet us at the mission. You remember the mission? It's over in Somali town.
And he's slowly like starting to nod, and he's like, "Why are we splitting up?"
Yes, why are you staying here? We must go. Come.
Because in a minute, this whole place is gonna be ablaze.
Well, come with us.
Fine, but we gotta be quick. You head over there. I'll be in there just a second. And she kind of pours out the rest of the kerosene, and as she walks out into the alley, so that there's like a fuse of kerosene leading out into the alley.
Mm-hmm.
And as she watches them walk ahead, she's gonna take her lighter and lean down and light it. And then she's gonna walk fast, casual but fast, back to the restaurant and gesture for Lottie, like through the window.
Lottie gets up from her chair and heads outside. Looks at the rest. What do you think? All right?
Yeah, for now. We gotta get back to the hotel and get our stuff. She's gonna know we was here. There ain't no way around it.
Did you break something?
We found some stuff, and she looks back. Probably there's a little bit of smoke starting to come from that doorway.
Not a lot. Not yet, really. It's not gonna catch everything that fast.
Because we can talk while we walk.
Oh, alright. Lead the way.
As they start kind of walking down the sidewalk, heading out, she says, look, we found some stuff. She's going to know what's missing. She was going to know it's us, so I figured, hey, why not get a little payback in the process? And at that, she looks back over her shoulder.
This is why you didn't want to do this in the first place.
Yeah, well, we got to figure some stuff out somehow.
Of course. Lottie just kind of rubs her temples as they quickly walk away from the burning, or soon-to-be burning building.
Yeah, so if I understand, Maxine, you basically just trailed a little trail of kerosene.
Well, everything that she could dump out, she did in there.
Okay.
But yeah, she's doing her best to make it so the floor might catch on fire, the stairs might catch on fire. There's all the wooden stuff in that storage room. She knows the place might not burn down, but there's a good chance it will.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she didn't stick around to make sure.
Mm-hmm. All right.
There's a lot of wood. Well, it looks to be from the picture anyway.
Yes, there is. At least above ground. Down below it wasn't.
Right.
Really
I mean,
much. Yeah.
you can't burn the basement, but at the same time, maybe that's good. Maybe eventually when people dig through the rubble, they'll find those corpses.
Okay, so you hurry away, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the hotel.
Yep. Checking out.
All right.
We were getting
Time to
ready to
go.
leave town anyway. Now, we can't probably take all of our belongings with us on this trip. I doubt they're even going to fit in the car.
That's a pretty accurate statement, I would say.
So, I know the idea I had was sending it to the embassy. I don't know if that's what do people do? How do they send their luggage ahead?
Yeah, you have to have some connections of some kind. I mean, if the hotel has associations with your destination, they might be, for a fee willing to send it on and manage all of that for you. if this is that kind of hotel, you're not quite sure if they can do it, but you can certainly ask if they'll manage the sending along of your belongings. But this is also Kenya, and so it's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, you may also just have to hire your own bearers to carry your stuff for you. I mean, that would also be pretty typical of.
Yeah, but those bears can't go in the driver's car
No, they
back
cannot.
to the village.
No, absolutely.
So we need to, on the way back, talk about what we're going to do. I mean, there's a chance we just never get our stuff back. Where should we try to send it? We could try to send it
as
to
we're-
the Kikuya village, but I don't even know if they could do that.
As you are, actually, before you get back to the hotel, as you're traveling along the road away, the main road away from her shop, her shop is just down the street a few blocks now. You can start to, Ingrid points back and says, "Look," and there's a little trail of smoke starting to rise from that building. And I don't know, to your shock or surprise or something, I don't think you're expecting this though. A woman steps out from the alley where you guys were and just looks down the street at you. She's about, 4 blocks away now.
And we don't recognize this woman.
I
Spot her.
I don't know if you recognize her. I mean, this is...
Unless it's the same woman that... Oh, didn't Lottie see her?
We all saw her yesterday.
And she just looks down the street at you. She doesn't seem like she's moving to do anything. It's not really quite sure what's going on, but you can see she's just sort of staring at you.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Jesus, why did we have to do this?
We're out of here.
We need to hurry, we need to leave now. This is... Oh, damn it.
Oh, what's the bitch gonna do? Turn us in? We know too much. We know what's in our basement.
Oh no, she's not gonna turn us in. She's probably gonna cast some sort of hex on us and burn us to death in our sleep.
She was gonna do that anyway.
Well, perhaps you burned all the... whatever she needs to cast any spells on us.
I don't know how that works, honestly. But let's hustle back.
I think we should just grab what we can, that we can carry, and screw the rest.
All right, you go another block. I'm sure one of you looks back at least. She's still
William
standing
definitely.
there. Yeah, William turns and looks back. She's still standing, but now she's just turned and she's just looking at the building. But she's making no move to do anything. She's very still.
That makes Maxine very nervous. No reaction is worse than like an angry reaction. For a minute, she wonders if she made a mistake, if like she burned down the wrong place, but then she thinks it over and she's like, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
And I assume you continue to move along down the street.
Yes, at a very brisk pace. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
they've got rickshaws or what, but if they do, they'll flag one down.
Sure. I think that there would be rickshaws out here on the street. You can get something. And William, as you're kind of helping everybody into rickshaws, you glance back again, and now you see she's not there anymore. You can make a spot hidden check. Fumble.
Nice.
I would say you are frantic, like she couldn't have disappeared that quickly in your mind. So you're looking around and you get this incredible feeling of nervousness. Make a sanity check for me. Yeah, you're gonna lose 1 point of sanity. She had to have just disappeared. You swear she was just there a moment ago, and now she's just like gone. And this thought of, if she's some kind of witch or something, is she like, you just feel this tingle go up your spine of fear of like, is she standing right behind you? Like she could appear behind you at any moment and just slice your throat. Like you just get that creepy feeling now.
Who is the driver of this?
A smiling Kenyan.
Okay. So as William's helping
Sir.
Maxine,
Come and take a seat.
he glances back and notices this, and then his eyes grow wide, and he's obviously disturbed by it, and then starts to look around in the street behind them and across the street, and then at the driver, and we need to leave now. It's time
Yes,
to
of
go.
course, sir. Please get into the vehicle, and I will take you where you wish to go.
And he hops into the back with them and starts to stare, around them, and even putting his hand on the hilt of his pistol, very nervous like.
Yeah, I'd say you're in with Lottie, and Ingrid and Maxine are in another one. They don't. I don't think they make 4-person rickshaws. That'd be asking a little much, even for strong guys that run every day. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So just with Lottie in the back, he's hand on the pistol, looking out and around.
Yeah, she places. Oh, go ahead.
And then he asked her, "Do you have that feather?"
The feather. No, I don't think I have it. You mean was it the fly swatter? That one?
Yes.
No, Maxine has it.
Of course. We must be getting on then.
We are following them, yes, sir.
Aye. Oh, sorry.
There's the Maxine and Ingrid's rickshaw are about a half a block ahead of you guys.
Yes, sir. Following them.
Very good.
I don't know.
He glances back and that you're holding, and he gives you a big smile. He says, "There's nothing to be nervous about, sir. You're quite safe here on the main street."
And he settles back, obviously still distraught, but trying to, feign a little relaxation. Lottie definitely notice.
Well, Lottie looks to William. Her brows are furrowed. And she says, I'd have to go along with her plan. It was stupid.
And he looks at her, and you mean the fire?
Aye. Don't say it so loud.
The woman, she vanished. She was in the street. She just disappeared.
Oh, shite. Probably because she's a fucking witch. He shouldn't have bugged her. We should have just left it alone. enough problems, and now we've a witch.
He starts to contemplate this and looking out towards the sky, and he gets kind of quiet about it for probably the rest of the ride.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you're heading toward the Norfolk Hotel, and you arrive there.
Yeah, during the ride, Max has pulled out a little notebook and she's scribbled a message on a piece of paper. And she says to the driver, "You know Kenyatta?"
Johnstone Kanyata, yes, of course. He is very famous here.
Yeah, do you think you could get a message to him?
At his newspaper, yes, of course.
Right away. She says, "How much for the ride?"
Yeah, so it's not much.
And she'll, pay him an amount equal to that to take this message to Kenyatta. And I'm sure he'll have a tip for you as well to get this to him safe and sound.
Oh, right away, right away. Do you want me to come back?
No. Well, yeah, sure. Just leave the message at the front desk, and I'll leave a tip for you with the concierge.
Yes, concierge, of course.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. It was a good ride, nice and smooth. And she hands him the note, the payment, and a tip. And then she heads in. The note says, "Kenyatta, please have driver meet us at the mission dash Maxine and Company. P.S. I'd have come myself, but I don't want to get you in no trouble."
Okay. He takes the letter, or the note, rather, helps you out, and then William and Lottie's rickshaw come up alongside.
Yeah, she does all this in the rickshaw. Like, she's trying to be surreptitious so that if anyone watching doesn't see her hand him anything other than money.
Sure. Okay.
And with that, up to the rooms. Ingrid, why don't you go up to the front and check us out while I get the stuff?
Yes, of course.
I'm sure just as they're getting out, they kind of see Lottie and William starting to pull up.
Yeah.
Once they're all together, Max says, "I'm sorry, we gotta hurry. We was on our way out of town anyway, right? I sent a letter to Kenyatta, a note telling him to summon the driver and send him to the mission. I just don't want Kenyatta get into any more trouble on our account. Didn't want to show up at his place if we don't have to. Not with people maybe watching us."
William kind of seems distant, deeply thinking about something or troubled by something. As he's getting, they're about to head into the hotel, or are they in there now?
You're right outside the hotel.
Okay.
You can see Ingrid is already going on in, but Maxine has stayed behind for you.
Yeah, she starts heading in though.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
William just nods and looks down the street.
"Come on, William, stop daydreaming. You gotta get your stuff."
William sees an Indian woman, he thinks, but it's a little hard to tell because so many of the women around here wear head coverings.
And he nods and quickly starts to follow. Of course, waiting for Lottie.
Yeah, Lottie, of course, is very quickly out of the rickshaw and hurrying to their room. And she says, "Alright, just grab what you need, what you can get in your bag for a long trek. I think we should say fuck the rest and hop in the car and go."
Perhaps I should write a letter.
To who, exactly?
To the embassy. My old employ. About what we're about to do. A warning, perhaps.
Not exactly what we're about to do. I mean, I don't think we can trust all of them. I really don't. Just be vague. Maybe. I don't know, William. We just have to hurry.
He nods. He starts to grab his things. The weapons, primarily.
Ingrid comes up about 15 minutes after you guys start grabbing stuff and trying to finalize what you're taking, and she says, I checked this out. I spoke with the owner. It is possible for them to send our things along somewhere, but I didn't know where to tell them to send it.
The only thing I know is, Shanghai. If there's a big hotel they know of in Shanghai, have them send it there, I guess.
Shanghai in China.
That's where Jack Brady is. That's where, well, we got a couple clues leading us there. It's Shanghai or Australia.
It will probably cost us a fair bit of money to do that. I will talk to him. I'll be back. She goes downstairs again. All right. Yeah, so it sounds like you're, apart from the books, you are just taking essentials.
Yep.
Survival gear, weapons.
And it's still probably being a little loaded down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You all, let's see. Are you going to err on the side of speed or err on the side of trying to make sure you don't forget anything important?
What's the time difference?
I would say probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe. How thorough,
Lottie's gonna maximize
thorough you want to be. But
yeah,
if anybody goes for thoroughness, then, you're all slowed down.
Right.
That's my,
I think
that's
of
my question. I'm just trying to get a sense of how frantic this is, or whether you're trying to be more careful and taking your time.
For once, I think Max and Lottie are on the same page. She makes sure she has guns and ammo, and that magic headdress. She knows it's magic, and she just kind of grabs whatever notes. Some notes might get left behind. I know she's got her quick notes regardless.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. So it doesn't take you very long. You grab your stuff, and you're down, gathered in the lobby, as Ingrid is finalizing the arrangements with a very surprised hotelier. And she says that he says that there is a hotel in Shanghai that they at least know of, and they can the Palace Hotel, and they'll send those things on. And she said, and Ingrid just kind of puts her hands up and said that pretty much cleans me out.
All right.
They will take care of it.
All right. Well, I mean, she asks what the amount is, and she compares it to what their personal belongings are worth, and if,
I don't know. Depends. If the amount doesn't sound unreasonable. I mean, it's probably something on the order of 200 pounds. That's a lot of money. But to have somebody just handle all your stuff and pack it up and ship it and make sure it gets to a Shanghai hotel safely and all that, I mean, that's,
Yeah. Well, Max does some quick calculations in her head what they could buy with 200 pounds and what she's seen in Ingrid's gear that might be worth 200 pounds. Her own? Her stuff's all fake.
I think the more relevant thing would be whether you forgot anything that you might want later. Not the value of the individual
notes
things.
Or
That's
something.
certainly not 200 pounds worth, probably, to you. You could replace those things. It's more a question of, how much do you care about losing something if you did miss something you feel is important.
Now, that's a good point. She thinks about it and gives Ingrid the nod.
Okay. All right. He says, "Excellent. I'll have someone get to this as soon as they're available." And he says, "Hopefully your things will arrive in Shanghai before you do." He said, "But of course I can't entirely guarantee that. But we'll certainly do our best." All right.
Yeah, I think we thank him and tip him, and we're out of there.
Okay.
Out the back, although they're probably onto that.
Yeah, you guys go out the back. And the guy watching just kind of tips his hat. The old spy game continues. Okay. You guys head out the back, lugging your stuff. You're a little burdened with your things, but you move along. Ingrid says, where are we going?
The mission.
Okay. How far away is that?
It's on the edge of Somali town, if I remember right.
Well,
Swahili town. I keep saying Somali town.
Yeah, it's a fair distance away. It's a couple miles.
I think maybe we go around the hotel, kind of take a back street or two, come out and see if we can find a rickshaw so we don't have to lug all this stuff the whole way.
Rickshaw, because with all this stuff, you're going to have to hire a few. It's an operation that could work, but you've got, stuff to... I would say you've got at least 4 rickshaws worth, including yourselves, right?
Yeah, that
2
would probably...
for the people and 2 for the gear.
That would probably draw more attention than anything, just this cavalcade of rickshaws. How about, instead, finding some kid? Hey, kid. Like a teenager, you
Sure.
want to earn some money to help us carry this stuff over to the mission?
Of course. And he gets a bunch of his friends. And in no time, you've got all these little Kenyan kids mobbing around, all fighting for the right to carry stuff. It seems like they the way it's going to turn out, unless you intervene, is that each kid will probably carry one or two things. And you'll end up with like 20 kids carrying stuff.
Yeah, no, that's
Because
ridiculous.
they all want to get in on it.
She would normally like totally indulge this, but instead she picks the two biggest and strongest, points to them, and like hands a penny to all the other kids and tells them to go get a piece of candy or something.
All right, I want you to make an intimidate check. I'm going to give you a bonus die on this one.
Nope.
Yeah, they continue to bicker over, even though you picked two, there's a couple other kids that feel like they should, and they're not arguing with you. They're arguing with the two kids that you picked in Kenyan. So you're not 100% sure what they're arguing about, but it's clear that they're not happy and they want the big money. So it's almost like a little squabble is breaking out with these kids.
William, can you maybe do something about this?
William is.
Use your mad dad voice. Let's hear it, Rogue.
Yeah.
I don't even think William was gonna get angry with him or anything like that.
And Lottie, you probably speak some Swahili. Maybe like.
She's the only one who does.
And I think William is actually still a little distracted, I would bet.
Yeah.
Give him the mad mom
This
voice.
mob of kids is almost, you might be worried that it's drawing attention. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in William's mind, but I'm just trying to.
Yeah, that's true.
Just the atmosphere is, this seems to be drawing attention.
So as he's looking back towards the way they've already come, he starts to reach into his pocket for any coin or loose money, and notices the attention that's being drawn over there. Then he starts to get loud and, all of you, get out of here! Go!
Yeah, and I would say it's a little. You don't. I'm not even going to make you roll the intimidate roll. There's just something about the way you're saying it that makes them stop, and the two kids reluctantly take their penny. Though Lottie, you would have heard in Kenyan one of the kids kind of threatening the other two that if they don't share what they make with them later, they're going to be sorry. And then the kids back off.
And William will still finish after he shouts at him. He'll take at least a coin or something and flip it to the.
Yeah. I will say your spare coins are starting to get rarer and rarer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're all feeling the your finances slipping away.
And this coin is mostly just thrown onto the ground for them to kind of chase.
Great. Yeah, most of them all go for that. Yeah.
Max looks at the kids and at William shouting. I gets even more nervous, and she's like, "Ah!" She just starts to walk.
Okay. So you guys start making your way through the back streets towards Swahili Town, because the kids are all like, "We know a shortcut. We know a shortcut. We get you Swahili Town fast. We get you there fast."
Do we have the two big ones with us?
Yes.
All right. We know how. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled, just in case they ain't taking us where we want to go.
I will make sure I'm not gonna get attacked or anything by a mob of children.
It's not these kids I'm worried about. It's their big brothers.
Maxine, make a luck check for me, please.
She's so lucky.
Yeah, she's so lucky. They actually do. I mean, it's not exactly the way you thought you probably go, but you don't know these streets well at all. And you find that in less time than you thought it would take, you start to recognize Swahili Town, even though you saw it at night last time. It's kind of unmistakable.
Yeah, she looks around. Satisfaction. I think they're taking us to the mission after all.
Well, I'd hope so. Considering.
Okay. So, you push on, and you eventually arrive at the mission.
What time of day is it now? I think we started out in the morning.
I would say, yeah, it was mid-morning, probably something like that. So I would say right now it's probably, let's call it 1 in the afternoon.
Any food vendors?
Sure. Plenty of those.
All right. Maybe just thank the kids and
Lizard on a stick, anyone?
get some lizard rat on a stick for me,
Yeah.
please.
Poor
Is it double
Lindsay.
stick?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of flies around for her.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. That's one thing there is no lack of.
At the mission, they have this is a Christian setup, right?
I think you'd assume so.
Yeah, William is looking at the building, actually thinking about going in and praying.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know quite how they feel about it or anything, but he mentions it. I would like to take a moment, perhaps, to say a few prayers. It's been a while.
Well, sure, it's always good to hedge your bets.
Honestly, maybe getting some word from the Lord might help in this.
As those boys are leaving, Max tries to think of somewhere she could send them that would not be like directly back to the hotel. Like she doesn't want them to run into someone following them and they get bribed and tell them where we went.
Well.
Although
do
she
you
mentioned it in
remember?
front of that gaggle of kids anyway, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind. All right, instead, do they have enough extra coin to pay one of them to stick around here and keep a lookout for an Indian lady or an Indian kid? Probably not a lot of them in Somali Town or Swahili Town.
Not too many, no. Yeah, I mean, that sort of thing, paying a kid to watch, I mean, that's pennies, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, you certainly have enough to...
And she'll buy him
You're
some...
not... it's not like you're down to your last 50 cents. It's just your ability to pick up small incidentals is becoming more and more difficult.
Yeah, she'll tell him to go stand casually over somewhere, and if they see a Indian lady or a young Indian man to come in and tell them, she'll buy him a lizard on a stick and
Okay.
something to drink while he does it.
Okay.
And then I guess we'll go in.
All right. Well, this mission seems like it when you walk inside, it actually looks like it's not just a religious. You kind of imagined it's probably like a just a chapel and maybe a back room or something. It actually looks like it's a very small chapel, and the main room has hospital beds in it with people in the hospital beds.
Oh yeah, there was a doctor. There was a doctor in the notes from here. Someone who talked to Elias, I think.
And there's pretty obvious. There's a few Kenyan nurses, 3 Kenyan nurses you see there, and this fellow who is clearly in charge.
Dr. Starrett. Just found it in my notes.
Yeah. William will squeeze Lottie's hand and head into the chapel area if he can.
Yeah, sure. There are a couple of African women in there that are praying.
Does this look Catholic or
Nope, it's well, William would
Church of England?
Yeah, William would instantly recognize it as Anglican just from the paraphernalia. I'm not sure Maxine would know the difference because they're very similar in the way they look to outsiders.
And he looks to Lottie. He doesn't say anything about it, but kind of maybe a hopeful look that she might join him or something for a moment, and then he goes over and kneels down. I think it's proper anyway. If they have the cross set up, to kneel before it and make a prayer in there.
Sure. Yep, that is fine. They don't have a crucifix. It's just a cross.
Yeah, Lottie will kneel down beside William and do the same.
Max will take a seat, start kind of muttering under her breath, trying to think of all the sins she's done since her last confession. And she turns to Ingrid. Hey, Ingrid, does arson count as a sin?
Ingrid judges you quietly.
And I assume you're all just sitting in the chapel part then, and not trying to get any attention. It sounds like you're just trying to be quietly there.
No, and have a good position ourselves that if someone does enter the mission, we can kind of see who they are, I guess.
Okay. Well, certainly the chapel is the first room you come to when you enter. That's the main entrance area, and then the hospital area it's a bigger room, but it is beyond the chapel.
I mean, if they're waiting there a while, eventually Max will walk up to whoever looks like a priest and ask him to take her confession.
Okay. You are, so you can walk back to the hospital area, and you see the doctor there taking a look at someone and frowning at a patient's arm.
Are you a doctor or a priest?
Well, I'm certainly no priest. I'm a pastor, you might say, of my flock here. And I am a doctor in my capacity as a medical professional.
Her
Who's
face.
asking, if I may inquire?
I'm, my name's Maxine.
I guess he'd be a vicar, probably more likely.
Yeah, do you all take confession?
He says it's not quite as formal as the as those idolaters, the Catholics, but yes, we do take confessions. If there's something you feel you need to confess.
Oh, well, I just want to, if something happens, which it might, I just want to make sure I got everything off my chest. I don't even need to be in private. You can just listen while you do your thing.
Well, it's customary to do it privately. At least we don't go in for those booths. But
Well, I'm just saying I don't really care if someone overhears. Is all I mean.
I see. So you're not ashamed of your sins, is what you're saying.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is keeping them a secret don't make them disappear, do they?
Certainly not quite the contrary, in fact. Until one confesses one's sins, the burden and the weight of that sin it continues to be upon you.
Yeah, see, exactly my thought. If more people talked about what they'd done, then more people would be confessing, because they wouldn't think to themselves, "Oh, I'm the only sinner in this whole dang world."
No, but I think also if people go about openly confessing their sins, it might create the false impression that it is natural and normal to be in a constant state of sinning, don't you think? I think people ought to attribute a certain degree of shame to their, well, less godly actions, don't you?
She actually thinks about it for a minute. Well, I think maybe regret and shame are different things. I mean,
I see.
We're all fallen, right?
Indeed we are.
I mean, we are all gonna fall short of God's grace.
That is the truth, yes.
And she just nods. But as interesting as it is to talk to someone about this stuff and to have them actually take me seriously and not dismiss me as a silly girl,
well, let's not jump to conclusions.
I actually was interested in that confession, but I don't want to bug you if it's going to distract you from helping these people.
No. It is part of my duties, and I take my duties quite seriously. However, I will have to ask you to wait just a short while. You can take a seat in the confessional.
Yeah, I'll be in
the chapel.
Yeah, I'll be in there with some of my friends. Some of them might want to be asking a favor from you as well.
Yeah, more confessions, eh?
More, maybe. We'll see how the wind's blowing, but maybe more of a matrimonial sort of a favor. And she just waggles her eyebrows.
A wedding, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, that leads to all sorts of sins in my experience. But yes, it is a part of my duties, of course. And well, if I adjudge them ready to take their vows seriously, then yes, I could be party to such a thing.
Well, judging by the noise coming from their bedroom at night, I'd say they're very ready. She just
you can see you can see his face drop and his wrinkles tighten up just a bit. And he says, well, perhaps it is important that we move ahead with the ceremony post haste.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But you get back to your work, Doctor. And she heads back to the chapel.
Thank you. Yes. All right.
William looks over to Lottie as they're sitting there quietly. They've probably been sitting there quietly for a while, praying. And he says, "Are we doing the right thing?"
What do you mean, William? And she looks, kind of opens her eyes and looks over at him.
This going to the mountain. You ever think of just running home? Take our last bit of money and settle down?
Oh, I thought of running home a while ago, but you are still here, and so is Maxine. I have too much guilt on my conscience if we left now, I think.
Tis a shame we couldn't have.
I mean, I wish
We-
you would have before, but we're kind of locked in at this point. Hard for us to escape.
He smiles at her and notices the pastor coming in. Is he coming in?
Not right away, but sure, he comes in at this point. And he's looking about the chapel, and his eyes rest squarely on you and Lottie, and you can see this. I mean, you wouldn't know why, but you see this sort of almost smirk appear on his face, and he starts to come over in your direction.
Williams kind of raises an eyebrow and then nods his head. Hello.
He says, "Good afternoon to you." And he glances at Maxine and then back to you, William, and he says, "I presume that you and the young lady here are the fornicators who wish to
Sorry. Sorry.
who wish to make yourselves right before God by embracing the holy rites of matrimony."
I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt or anything there. But what makes you believe that we're
An Irish woman. How did I not suspect?
William looks for Maxine.
Maxine is like deep in prayer. She's got her like hands together very piously. But she looks over at you and she winks and then goes back.
He says, "I'll have you know that two wrongs do not make a right, or whatever the saying is. Simply getting married is not going to be enough to secure God's favor and forgiveness. You must amend your ways and truly be sorry for your sins. Am I wasting my time, or do you wish to receive some counseling before the blessed event?"
Lottie looks very confusedly over to William and then to the vicar. I'd be happy to, confess my sins, or
Oh, yes,
I
me
don't
too.
know, get
He says the
counseling.
confession is not necessary in the Anglican faith, my dear. It is accepted if you feel it necessary, but quite honestly, I'm not interested in your tawdry tales.
Oh, I think you'd be mighty interested, but anyway, she looks over to William. What? Did you speak to this man before?
I could just see both of their faces, like.
Very confused.
William's still got his mouth open and married. No,
That is why you're here, is it not? Your companion there assured me that was your intention. And he puts his hand out to William. You think a little reluctantly, and he says, "Dr. Starrett at your service, Dr. Horace Starrett."
Dr. William Stevens. James Stevens.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Stevens. So, he
He thinks about it for a moment and then like pats his jacket and oh my god, I think he still has a ring in his breast pocket.
he's
He
waiting
produces
to see
it and
what you
looks
do.
at it.
Yes. He says, so I see you have contemplated the possibility before. That's a good start, at least. And he grabs a chair and scrapes it on the wooden floor over to where you're sitting on a bench, and sits down opposite you. You have this, I would imagine, a momentary flashback to being in school, with the headmaster sitting in front of you. He has that same kind of severe look down his nose at you, William, and you feel you're about to get a drubbing of some kind.
And that flashback as well probably changes to her face, him remembering his fiance from before, and but that quickly fades out as he looks over to Lottie's face, kind of trying to read what she's thinking.
Lottie's very confused, I would say. It's running along her face at the moment. And she looks over between Dr. Horace and you, William.
So he turns. I think he's still on one knee anyway, and
Yes, and you hear the doctor, because you're on your knee and you're sort of facing the doctor, and he says, "Well, don't propose to me, boy. It's her you must propose to."
and he just turns towards Lottie and holds up the ring to her, and shows his hand out to her, and he says, "Well, I wouldn't be against the idea of would you like to marry me, perhaps?"
Lottie.
You
Oh, go
can
ahead.
see just the sour look on Dr. Horace's face
yeah,
as you're
Max.
intoning this.
Pipes up and just kind of whispers across the chapel, "You can do better than that, William." And then she goes back to praying.
Dr. Horace does clear his throat, and he says, I will remind you of the sacred nature of such a vow, young lady," he says to Lottie. "Should you accept his proposal, such as it is, you are entering into a covenant which God will expect you to honor."
William's face gets like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Lottie stands up and she places a hand on top of William's and looks down. William, I want you to be sure about this. Not just debating whether it's a good idea or not, and agreeing that it is. I don't want you to be pressured by in a church. And she shakes her head. I need to go outside. She just turns around and heads out of the church.
William watches her walk out, and
Dr. Horace
and,
immediately stands up before you can even react, and he just puts a reassuring arm on your shoulder. And you can tell he seems a little relieved, and he says, "Well, young son, I think this might be for the best."
Maxine's already on her way over, and she just smushes right up to William and says, "I disagree. What was that? I set you up for a home run, and you come up with this foul ball, like, right back at the catcher?"
And William looks totally embarrassed and takes the ring and puts it back in his jacket and stands up and kind of tries to straighten his clothing out and wipe it off. I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Yeah. You try again.
And Dr. Horace says, "Well, young lady, if you really must confess something, this would be the time to do it. I do have patients to return to."
Yeah, you got patience. Do you have? And she kind of counts up on her head, about 20 minutes.
You
Just
see
kidding.
you see him take a deep breath and compose himself, and he says, "If you're sure it will take that long, yes, of course.
I can try to talk fast.
I expect you can."
And she'll go and she'll mention anything she can kind of think of, but only in like general terms. She's not gonna be like, "I shot a guy under a temple." And she's not gonna tell him about the stuff with Ingrid, but she'll be like, "I did have relations with someone who wasn't married, but there was no P and V."
You see for a moment that he looks confused and almost starts to ask, but then you can just see him say, "Forget it," and he just stays silent and lets you go on.
Yep. She doesn't really care. She just is used to getting it out of her system. I mean, the priests back in Chicago, they know. They're used to it with all the gangsters coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a number 3 this week. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He listens, and then you're actually done, and there's this silence where he's clearly expecting there's more, and he looks up almost out of a trance, and oh, is that all? Excellent. Well, are you truly sorry for the sins you've committed?
Yeah, I'm really sorry their sins. I'm sorry for
That's
them.
not the
for them
question.
sins.
Are you sorry you committed those sins? Do you repent of your sins? You're familiar with the word, I hope.
I'm truly sorry for anything I did wrong.
I suppose that will have to do. He says now the thing about repentance. The word repent means to change your thinking, to think again, if you will. You must consider the things you have done and plan to change the way you think about them in the future so that you won't do them again. Are you prepared to take that course of action? That is what God expects of you.
She just very subtly kind of casts a glance over at Ingrid, and she looks back and she thinks for a minute. She says, my whole life I think I treated these things kind of casual because, to be honest, that's the way I was raised. I was treated casual. But
I'm not sure
maybe
I
it's
follow, but yes, go on.
maybe it's time to be more serious. Maybe it's time to stop treating it like a game.
That sounds like the words of a grown-up. Good for you.
Well, thank you very much. I mean,
When I was a child, I thought like a child and I spoke like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Perhaps it's time for you to put away childish things. That would
considering
be a part of your road to forgiveness and holiness.
well, it'd be nice to get them things straightened out before it's too late. All right. I won't keep you anymore. Thank you for listening. And looks like the reds left your ears, retreated back down to your neck. I'd say you're ready to get back to your patients. And thank you for listening.
Curious individual. Yes, of course. Best of luck with your repentance. And he stands up.
Yeah, she walks back over to Ingrid, sits down next to her.
Yeah, you can tell she was trying to be unobtrusive, but she was close enough that she probably heard a good portion of that.
And Max scoots a little closer. And she reaches out and tries to take Ingrid's hand, and she says, I think maybe he's right. It's time for me to maybe put away childish things.
What childish things are you referring to, Maxine? You don't strike me as childish in any way.
The way I treat people. Use people. And how can I ever have something that's real if I'm always pretending with everybody else?
Are you always pretending with me?
And she looks over at her and she says, maybe I was a little at first, but I ain't pretending anymore.
All right. You can see she's not exactly sure what to make of that, but she's kind of tentatively along with you.
I want it to be real.
I do as well.
Oh, good. Maybe that's enough for now.
She says, I'm not the joking sort. When I say things, I mean them.
I sense that about you, Ingrid.
Okay. Well, what do you suppose happened with William and Lottie? They have been outside for a while.
I don't know, but the hand that's not holding yours, well, I got all the fingers on it crossed.
I see. She'll take your hand and smile. So what is happening outside?
William is looking for Lottie immediately when he goes outside.
So yeah, he was, 15 seconds behind her. Does he see her?
Yeah, she doesn't venture up very far. She's mostly standing maybe like 10 feet outside of the mission itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting some fresh air at this point.
And underneath one of those old trees there, he runs over to her. And a little urgency in his step. He says, I've been unsure about many things. Been fumbling through this existence for quite some time, really. This ring was not originally meant for you. But when she died in the accident, I was sure there was little much to live for. I lost quite a bit of my faith. If we're about to head or ride straight into hell, I would like to be at your side, married or not.
Lottie looks to William. Look, William, I've thought about things like this before. I mean, with you, it's not like I haven't thought about it at all. But I want you to be doing this on your own accord. William might want it to be influenced by Maxine's chides or pushes and pulls or anything of the sort. I want you to decide when you do it.
He smiles at her. He says, Maxine has a way about her. She'd make a good spy.
Oh, she would, so she was less impulsive, maybe.
Well, He like takes the ring out and looks at it. Would it even fit your finger? I wonder.
Lottie, she holds out her hand and gives it to him. Well, if you like to try it, you can see.
And he holds it up to her. Tries to see if it'll fit on her finger.
Does it?
I don't know, does it?
It's up to you.
Should it make a luck roll?
Luck roll.
Oh,
Did you?
yeah.
Ooh, it fits very well.
Oh man. He smiles. He says, maybe you should hold on to it.
She pulls her hand back and looks at it. You see she brings her other hand to the ring and she kind of feigns pulling it off. Oh, bloody hell, it's stuck.
Now you're
like-
going to have to wear it.
I guess so, though, William, I will say I'm not getting married in no Anglican church.
I agree.
Good. I'm a good Catholic girl. Can't be having that.
He smiles. And he says, well then perhaps I'll take you to a Catholic church after we get out of this mess.
I'm a bit more stressed about leaving than I am getting married. Plus, I don't really want Maxine to be my best woman. She's more of a mediocre woman.
And William comes over and just brushes his finger across her chin and gives her a kiss.
Alright. And Maxine's gonna be bragging about this for the next few days. It's gonna be insufferable.
Well, she doesn't have to know.
Oh, true. I'll just hide my hand from her.
He probably puts his arm around her and stays out by the tree for a little while.
I'd say that's where Maxine and Ingrid find them then.
Eventually, we're like, did those two run off to get married or what? So come out to look for you.
And there they are, sitting under a tree. William has his arm around her.
K-I-S-S-I-N.
Yeah. William and Lottie.
I think Max and Ingrid go sit somewhere in the vicinity, but not right by them. And Max doesn't say anything, although she does definitely look like the cat that ate the canary.
Well, it
William,
looks like they made
he'll-
up if there was a problem.
Yeah, looks that way, don't it? Sometimes men, they, you gotta stick an idea in their head. Sometimes it sticks. You put it there and it sticks. It's not so often that the thoughts, they happen on their own.
You're saying that men don't think very much.
And they do, but, not about the important stuff.
I see. Jesus,
I mean, when you're getting the milk for free, buying the cow don't always occur to you.
She thinks about that for a minute, and she says, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, all the shit we've been through and I shoulda go through, whether or not they go through with it, sometimes just that promise, that glimmer of hope, that light at the end of the tunnel, maybe that's what keeps us going.
And she says, I don't think two people have to go through some official ceremony to know they love one another and are committed to one another and that they are together truly. I have to believe that.
I think that's probably true. She thinks about it, but that symbol, there's got to be something said, something both people got to know. They got to make it known to each other in some way.
That is probably a good thing. But sometimes the unspoken things are the most powerful things, don't you think?
She
Sometimes
thinks.
putting words on it changes it and makes it less. Puts too many fences around it.
I guess maybe it's a trade-off. There's some things that can't ever really be put into words, but sometimes words, they give you the security you crave. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
She says, well, I don't crave security, Maxine. If I did, I would be very disappointed in my life. But I do crave truth. I do crave to know that a thing is real. And for that, I don't need words. In fact, sometimes I think the words will ruin it.
Yeah, especially my words. Max laughs a little bit. What was it? Oh, she actually starts thinking, and she's about to ask something, but she lets the moment go because she doesn't want to ruin it by bringing up something unpleasant.
Yeah. Speaking of words ruining something, yeah, let's just. Yep. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we just got Rogue in trouble. It sounds like.
Whoops.
It's Maxine's fault.
Oh, totally. My wife would do the same thing. What is going on? Don't worry, I'm doing it really, really badly. Yes.
She totally rejected me. Well, now she's mad at you, Matt. I mean, what's wrong with Rogue? Are you too good for him?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Fight. Okay. So it sounds like you're waiting here for a bit. The kid that you appointed as lookout does come to you just to summarize, a couple of times and points out an Indian woman or an Indian man, but it's not the woman you're worried about in either case. But he seems very excited to, point that out. And you also notice he sort of expects maybe a little bit of a retainer each time he sees somebody.
Yeah, she. After the first couple of times, she kind of notices this, and she gives him a little tip the first couple of times because she kind of falls for it. But after that, she thanks him, but then just makes sure she, gets him refreshments every once in a while. Keeps him there and alert. But
yeah,
he can't be running over every second, especially if he's pointing out the same people.
Yeah, it's not the same people, but I mean, it's not like no Indian people ever come here.
Right,
it's just not like every couple minutes. But you're getting the sense that it's frequent enough that he's gonna keep coming back and.
Yeah,
Like,
she'll be more specific.
I found somebody.
Like anyone who's keeping an eye on the mission, or looking around or asking around about them.
Okay.
But she'll still, reward effort every now and then. She doesn't want him to. She wants him to go home thinking this was a great day.
Yeah. Well, it probably already has been. but why not make it even greater? Yeah. Well, so I guess my question to you is, how long are you going to sit here under the trees waiting until you do something other than sit under the trees waiting?
How long did it take? I mean, before when Kenyatta summoned Driver, he had told us to come back in the evening. How long had it been between the time he told us that and when we came back? Several hours.
It was the next day, wasn't it?
No, it was the same day.
Was it the same night? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it would have been something like, at least 6 hours later, probably.
Yeah. Well, we'll be in the area probably for at least that long.
Okay. All right, so you're there, and it's starting to get. It probably was a little comical at first with the kid, but eventually it's starting to get a little irritating how often he comes back and points out, where he's saying it. He couldn't really tell. Thought like maybe they were looking at them, or watching the. They looked in the direction of the mission. It's sort of, he's obviously really pushing the definition of that you defined for him of what constitutes somebody worth noting.
Yeah. Well, if we're out anyway, after a while, she'll probably pay him and send him home.
Okay. He seems a little disappointed, but he's got his money and he's happy. So yeah,
it's dinner time. Go home.
Leaves. Yeah. And it is. It's you've probably got an hour of daylight left. And you notice your driver come up. He's not being very obvious about it, but he is approaching you, and it takes you a couple minutes to see him, but he's actually, you're not really sure how long it took you to see him, but he's kind of in the I wouldn't call it exactly a shadow, but the shade of a shack, and he's trying to get your attention, just subtly motioning for you to come over.
Well, who notices him?
I was gonna say it might be Lottie.
Yeah, Lottie's got the best
vibes.
spot.
Yeah, let's say it's Lottie then, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, she gets up and she taps William on the shoulder. She points over the driver. All right, let's grab Ingrid and Maxine and head over there.
Yeah, William hops up and waves for Maxine.
Yeah, I think Ingrid and Max are probably kind of half dozing in the shade, and it takes a minute, and then sees William gesturing.
Yeah, I think Ingrid has probably actually fallen asleep.
Yeah, Max kind of shakes her a little bit. Hey, Ingrid, our driver's here.
Oh, yes. Well, it's still daytime. Good. And
Yeah.
She sits up and rubs her eyes.
I'm relieved. I mean, part of me thought he wasn't going to show up at all. She just kind of subtly gestures over to him. Let's get out of this town.
Okay. So it sounds like you all go over to him, and you can see there's a bit of a look of dismay on his face when you get there, but he stays put, and he says, "You don't get to make the rules about this." He says it doesn't work that way. You remember the yellow door. You will come to that door tonight.
Yeah. All right. If anybody associates us with Kenyatta, he's going to be in trouble.
I understand, but you must come there.
All right.
We can say 11 o'clock.
Max just looks at the others and then back at him and nods.
I will be there.
He just nods. He doesn't look very happy. And he slinks off.
I didn't even remember the yellow door part. Well, what are we going to do with ourselves until 11 o'clock?
What time is it?
I'd say it's maybe 6.
We could volunteer here at the mission, I guess. How far is it over to Kenyatta's? He's back in... No, he's not in Swahili Town, right?
No, yeah, he's not. You won't be going by his place at all. The street with the yellow door is, just down the way. It's only about a 15-minute walk to that place. If
From
you
here?
can remember how to get there, yeah. The thing is, you went there at night, guided by somebody, so you're hoping you can find it again?
We better make sure we can find it.
Yeah, let's find it during the day and then just walk by casually and just keep walking.
Mhm.
But just make sure we know where it is.
Okay. Who wants to make the navigate roll?
Ooh, let's even have enough.
I don't think any of us have it. Ingrid does.
Oh, I will.
All right. I'll even give you a bonus die, because at least you sort of done this before.
I needed it.
You needed it, and you got
50.
it. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget to mark it off. Yes. So it doesn't actually take you very long. You're not sure initially, but as soon as you start walking down the street, you start to think, "Oh, this looks familiar." And eventually you're like, yes, I know how to do this. And sure enough, it's about 15 minutes further down. You spot the old beat up yellow metal thing that passes for a door.
Perfect. Alright, so just keep walking. Don't look at it directly. We can do a loop around, and I don't know, maybe, we'll be going there at night. Maybe we should find somewhere to, I don't know, nap or something. Safe.
Yeah, you feel fairly confident you can find this place again at night without too much trouble, because it's off of the main street that you expected it to be off of, so it's not like you have to wander down these back alleys where you might get lost. It's you feel pretty confident.
When you check into a hotel, do you give them money or do you give money on checkout?
I think it would depend on the hotel, the class of the hotel. If it's a nice hotel and they judge you to be non-transients, well, if you're transient, they probably wouldn't even rent the room to you. But then you're almost certainly not going to be asked to pay until you check out. If it's more like a flop house, often they will ask you to pay up front because they know they can't trust you to not run.
Is there one of the nice English hotels near the...
Certainly not Swahili Town, no.
Oh, no, and the yellow door's there.
Yeah.
Are we anywhere near the bar?
The yellow door is like further down
Oh,
Swahili
the bar.
Town.
Oh, a bar's a good place to hang out.
The
Although,
one with the guy. What's his name?
Nails?
Nails. Are we anywhere near that bar?
The bars are all down in the on the main street area. So
we could just
that's a
find one
walk
that's
back.
closest.
Yep, true.
I was thinking one more shot at Nails.
Well, in that case, you will possibly be going by the East African Standard, which is Mr. Kenyatta's newspaper.
Are we still carrying all our stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So are you gonna get more people to help you? I mean, you
No.
have this 15 minutes. Yeah, I'd say it took longer than 15 minutes because you have to, you're hauling all this stuff, which is more than the four of you would like to have to carry at the moment. But so yeah, I would say you're probably not super mobile right now.
Yeah. Probably closest bar then.
Either that or Lottie could try to talk to one of the people that live here and see if they'd be willing to put us up until 11 in the house.
You could certainly try that.
I'll try. I'm not the most convincing person.
Well, so you can either try something like charm, or you can try your Swahili. I think you could take either tack. You could either try to, through your fluency, sort of win their trust in that you're somebody that their language, you're probably an okay person, or you can try to charm somebody into...
I shall try to charm them. She goes up to her house and says, "Oh, you mind putting this up for a couple hours? I can give you a few coins to help us do it." Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh my
Holy
gosh!
She
As
smiles. like,
As
"Oh,
it turns out, you happen to have found one of the nicer, more generous people in Swahili Town. A woman who takes a look at the four of you, and you can just see this look on her face of like, you guys are fish out of water.
Yeah.
And
Max tries to help by just acting like she's limping. I sprained my ankle.
yeah, and she just, you can see there's a bit of reluctance on her face, but she steps aside and waves you inside. And you can see that this is a multi-family dwelling, although pretty quickly it becomes clear that they're all related. and the vast majority are children and women. There's one older guy who just sits in a corner and has one of the kids fanning him in his like beater shirt. And the other men, wherever they are, you get the sense there must be a couple men at least, but they're not around. So you get lots of attention from children who are very curious about you. And the women seem to argue among themselves a little bit quietly, not impolitely in front of you. But you can see a couple of them are not too happy that the woman let you guys into her house, but it's her house, so, you know, clearly she or the husband is the head of the family. So if she says you can come in, you can come in. So they all kind of have no choice but to extend hospitality to you.
Yeah, she smiles to the others and says, alright, leave this place for a small bit of time, so I guess enjoy the comfort while we can before we're, out in the forests and such.
Yeah, it's a good time to catch up on some sleep.
It's going to be hard with all the attention you're getting from the kids. Unless you do something to get them to leave you alone.
I think Lottie will actually indulge the children and have fun like playing with the children, answering their questions as best as she can, even having them teach her words. Mostly just enjoying kind of this
and
childlike energy.
They laugh uproariously when you butcher a word or can't quite get it right, because you speak well enough that they can talk with you, but so it's almost like you're like a child, and it makes them feel really smart because they're teaching you words you don't know and all that, and they can't believe you've never heard of this word or that word. So they definitely gravitate to you, Lottie, and you entertain them.
Yeah, I think she'll probably pull the children over so the other three can rest up. Just draw all that attention.
Okay. Ingrid whispers to Maxine. She says, I'm not sure I have seen such poverty in my life. How does this many people live in one place like this? There's hardly room enough for all of them to lie down at night.
Yeah, well, she shrugs. They seem, do they seem like hungry or just okay? Like, they're...
I'm not sure you'd know. I mean, they're not walking around holding their bellies or anything.
Right.
But they're certainly very excited right now.
Yeah, well, they don't got the same opportunities as the Brits around here, that's for sure. But they got each other. She shrugs. They get along better than my family did.
She looks and she says they certainly have a lot of each other.
Yeah, that they do. And she just kind of sits back and watches them for a while.
The older women bring food out for you guys. The children aren't allowed to touch any of it. You guys eat first. Then the old scruffy bearded guy interrupts his fanning to get his portion next, and then the women eat some, and the kids, you can tell. If you were wondering if the kids are hungry, the way they are watching the adults eat clearly indicates that they are hungry.
Max.
But they all just wait quietly.
Yeah, Max, whatever it is, she'll start to eat it with a look of like grateful enthusiasm, but she'll kind of, if she can, she will sleight of hand some food over to one of the kids.
The kid looks at you almost with like a scared look as you hand it to them, and the kid looks over at the mothers who are eating, like, and you can tell is trying to gauge whether or not to risk it.
Yeah, she'll stand up and walk in front of the kid, just kind of shield him from the other's view, to stretch. Then she'll look over her shoulder at him and just wink.
Okay. Is it a boy or a girl?
Probably a girl.
She takes the food. It's like a rice cake kind of thing, and it's kind of soft, not hard. And you can see she kind of hides it, and then when she thinks nobody is looking, though you see it, she breaks it in half and slips her little sister a piece, and then the two of them kind of sneakily eat it.
She gets kind of a sentimental feeling looking at that, but smiles a little to herself, and when she feels like they're not at any risk of getting caught, she'll go back down and sit by Ingrid and kind of lean against her shoulder.
Okay. And then the adults have finished, and you see that the women have made sure to leave a little bit, and then the kids are allowed to eat, and they all scramble up, and it's chaos for a few moments while they all kind of reach in to grab something and get a little bit of food. And I don't know if it would surprise or appall any of you. It probably wouldn't surprise Lottie, who knows a little bit, but the adults don't seem to intervene. They don't like say, no, you let so-and-so have their share. Like, the kids just have to grab what they can grab. The adults don't seem concerned.
Lottie wouldn't say anything. She doesn't want to interfere with, I guess, their type of upbringing of the children, because she knows no matter what they do, it's going to go back to whatever it was before. So she'll just do her best after dinner to continue entertaining.
Okay. By the way, I don't know if that's what Kenyans at the time did, but I'm making that up. It seems it seems reasonable based on a lot of cultures that just. But anyway, so yeah, so they eat the kids get something, and then it's a little bit quiet. Like, you know, if it might also like they some of the kids lie down like their tummies are full now, you know, and they're gonna take a rest. The two little girls that you fed, Maxine, you definitely won them over. Like, they want to sit close to you now.
Yeah, she's fine with it. She is not particularly motherly, but, you know, she thinks kids are cute.
Mm-hmm. The older one, actually, you haven't heard her speak before, and she says in English, are you from England?
Ah, nah, not that place. I'm from America.
What is America?
She laughs. It's a much bigger place than England.
Bigger than England?
Ah, much bigger. Yeah,
But
it is.
England is so big, it covers the whole world.
She starts to shake her head, but then she thinks for a minute. It can seem like that. But, actually, England itself is pretty small. They just like to spread out a lot. Stick their noses in everybody's business.
She doesn't seem to have any idea what you're talking about, but she takes it in stride.
Says America's an interesting place. It ain't without its faults, though. I mean, she's talking. She knows that this girl is probably not really getting it.
Yeah, she just likes listening to you, though.
She'll say there's good people and bad people, no matter where you go in the world. But she then looks over at the girl's mother. Is that your mother?
Yes, that is my mother.
She looks at the girl more seriously. She's a good lady, I can tell. There ain't too many people like her, no matter where you go in the world. You're a lucky kid.
She smiles and she says, I guess I am lucky.
Yeah, you try to be like your ma.
She says, one day maybe I will be head of the family. They will have to listen to me.
Yeah. Being in charge is good and all, but once you are the person that makes the decisions, you gotta remember it ain't just about she struggles with what she's trying to say, but she says
And she interrupts, like she's had this question she wants to ask you, and says, don't you have any money?
yeah, we got some money. Why?
She says, you're here in this place. White people don't come here if they have money.
I had business down at the mission.
Oh, the mission. She says, they
Yeah.
gave us a Bible.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. You just gotta take it with a grain of salt. And then she thinks about what she just said and says, there's wisdom in that book, but there's wisdom in other places too. You gotta take what feels right to you.
She says, you can read it?
Oh yeah. You still got it?
Yes, of course I still have it. She gets up and she runs into the other room and she says something in Swahili to her mother. The mother seems mildly annoyed but just kind of waves her on, and she goes in the other room and comes back with a Bible and hands it to you. And there's a touch of pride in her as she hands it to you.
She looks at it. That mission, they ever talk about having a school teaching people to read English?
Yes, the preacher man there says there will be a school soon.
You should go. Don't let them take away what makes you you, but learning English, knowing how to read, that's power. That's power to know what's going on in the world. That's valuable. And with that, she'll just open it up and she'll just, she'll maybe pick a passage she likes, but then she'll just start pointing at letters.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing they'll teach you at school.
And she says these words are power. These words have power. And she says they are magic.
No, not magic. All words have power, but knowing how to read them.
And she smiles at you with this strangely indulgent, superior tone the first time you say it, and she just says, No, not all words have magic. There are special words that have magic. Don't you know this?
Oh, and then she's the one who's interested, and she tries to get her to tell her what she thinks magic words are.
She says, the witch doctors know special magic words.
Well,
She says,
I don't doubt that.
She says the witch doctor at the mission must know the magic words too. He must be a very powerful witch doctor for his British people.
No. She tries to explain. She tries to explain that his power is like she tries to explain that people write down what they know in a book. Like, and if you can read the words, then you can know what they know. You can know what they've written. That's probably what she spends a good
Yeah,
deal of her time trying to explain.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to quite understand the concept there, but she's fascinated that you can read to her, and so that seems to be. If you'll read it, she just keeps challenging you. Read this, and she'll just point to a random thing. Read that.
Like, does she know how to read Swahili?
No, she doesn't know how to read anything.
Yeah, she'll give her an example at some point where she'll say, tell one of the other people in the group to write something down on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then, show her that she knows what got written just by looking at it, because she knows how to read.
So how does Lottie feel about Maxine starting to steal the show here after dinner?
I think it's more just this kid, anyway.
It is, but the other kids are... You've started... You may not be aware, but you've started to get a little bit of a following. Most of them can't speak any English, but they're just sort of fascinated with what's going on.
Oh, Lottie will definitely pawn them off on Maxine. She'll be like, in Swahili, be like, well, you should pay attention to what the blonde one's saying. If you know, even just listen to her. She's very smart.
And one of them in English asks you, why do they say you are a wise woman?
Who says that?
And she points to Lottie.
She looks over at Lottie.
She says, with your people, you are a wise woman.
She kind of smiles and says, probably because she wants to take a nap.
William's got his hat down over his eyes, slumped to the side.
Yes. All right. Well, time passes. Eventually, the kids are told in no uncertain terms by the parents to leave you all alone. Clearly, what they assume is that you're sleeping there tonight. So they have made room for you to have a part of the main room there. And they all start to settle down.
Yeah, William's got a pocket watch, right?
Sure.
He's a British dude.
Okay, so you watch the time. William, just make a power check for me. Yeah, you're keeping a good, strong eye on that pocket watch, and I would say, Lottie, your estimate is, again, you're only 10 minutes away, so whenever you want, you can head out.
Yeah, at some point, probably about 12 minutes too. She'll look to the head woman of the house and say, I thank you for letting us stay, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Though unfortunately, we can't stay the night. We do have other business to attend to, but I deeply thank you.
She actually seems a little relieved. And she wishes the blessing of the gods on you.
She's on you as well, and she'll get up and look to the others. All right, shall we?
Yeah. Get up, start stretching, waking up their legs.
Okay. Outside, it's a surprisingly cool night. It's not raining, which is not surprising. And the streets are not deserted, but pretty quiet.
And Max pulls out that fly whisk and kind of holds it surreptitiously at her side on their way to the yellow door.
Okay. You make it to the yellow door.
Yeah. William looks at the pocket watch for a moment as they kind of stand in the shadows, looking around for the driver.
Mm-hmm.
And then he walks over and taps the yellow door. A light knock.
There's no answer.
I think we just wait. I think we're just supposed to wait out here.
No, we should just go in.
Did we go in last time? I just don't remember.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
just walked in.
Okay, let's just go in.
Okay, who's first?
I think Lottie will go first. She's more confident that it's like, no, we just go forward, and she'll just start making her way forward.
Okay. Yeah, you open the door, and step inside, and it's not entirely pitch black in there. You can see there's a small gas lamp that's turned way down, and you can see the car without the cover on it. And when you all step in and close the door, a figure steps out into the gaslight, and it is the driver.
Oh, thank goodness, she's burying the lead there.
Yeah, I think there was a moment of uncertainty, probably. And he just says, "Let us go." And come.
Right.
And he starts to get the car ready to start.
Lottie looks over to the rest. This is going to be a bit of a uncomfy ride.
Yeah, you've got all this stuff, and that's going to be
one
a little
additional
tricky.
person.
Yes, and an additional person.
Yeah, I think Max, knowing that Ingrid probably doesn't want to be scrunched up with the driver, well, they're going to stick everything they can in the floorboard. Is there any room for Ingrid in the back, or is she going to have to scooch in with Lottie?
She's going to have a hard time. I mean, it was a little bit of a tight fit with the three
Right.
of you, and now with Ingrid and all this other stuff, like I would say seriously, your worry is that there's just not that much place to put this stuff. And
we
you
did
can
bring some rope. Can we try to fasten some of the bulkier items?
Yes, you can. It's a little risky. You're hoping that it doesn't dislodge.
Right. It's less risky than not having it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You can see the driver looks a little dismayed at your attempts to tie things down to the car. But he helps you, and he says, "We must be going." So he's trying to hurry you up. So I'd say you get the stuff as secured as you can. What is the stuff you are most worried about securing properly?
Guns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guns are pretty. I mean, you can hold those probably.
It's like the camping. A lot of it's like the large camping equipment, I think, would be the most important, at least to Lottie, because they really need that.
Camera.
Okay, but a camera, you can hold it.
And
Not
who's
quite.
Well,
sit- and-
obviously, any special item they've got
Hanging
stays
onto
in like a
anything.
handbag.
And who is either cramping or sitting on a lap? Like, are 3 people trying
Lottie
to
will
sit
lap it.
side by side?
Lottie will sit on William's lap, probably.
We'll strap Lottie to the top too.
Just hold on to me, that'll be fine.
Just William just says, "Hold on."
We'll
All
talk
right,
about the person who pops up, it's fine.
all right. Grab that saddle horn and ride. All right, so yeah, he gets the car started and moves stuff out of the way and drives out. So let's see. You repeat the journey that you performed not that long ago, and it's not quite. It doesn't seem quite as long a ride as it did last time. But it's still bumpy, and yeah. So let's see, who's gonna roll luck? Oh, it's Maxine again.
All right.
Don't fuck it up.
Ah!
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say, so you get there, and by some small miracle, it does not seem that you have lost anything important. You probably a couple of, like a pot or pan or something, dislodged from the rope and fell off during the journey, but you haven't lost anything of great value. So that is good.
By 1 point. Jeez.
Yeah, that was a little close. But you eventually arrive there. And it's when you get there, there's maybe an hour or so before dawn. So, he just takes you to the same little shack where you guys slept before, and just sort of deposits you there, and then he heads off to some other shack. You're not really sure what he's doing, but he's clearly
Oh, I
not.
know what he's doing.
Visiting a friend.
Oh, some good visits.
Well, now that we have a minute, I mean, we've been rushing around so much.
Yes,
Lottie
you have.
kind of dumps out her bag and Ingrid's bag and pulls out the stuff that they got from the Indian witch's place. And she kind of tells them, what she found. We was looking around and we didn't see anything out of place. It was really confusing. But then Ingrid here, she spotted a trap door, and we went down in the cellar, and that's where we found, and she starts pointing to things. There was an altar with, like handcuff thingies, and there was a statue. It had a lot of arms, and she looks over at Ingrid because she knows how disturbed or affected she was by it. And in the stone cabinet, they had all these pictures of us, and she kind of fans them out.
What pictures? And Lottie will make to grab them to look at them.
Took them back in Egypt. Must have sent them here, because she points to the ship. They knew where we was headed, and this lady knew to look for us. That's how come she knew we was going to be on that train and to send those fire creatures after us. And I don't know what this stuff is. And she points to the jars and the incense, but I took some just in case. I think we know what she did with that. She points to the hatchet, but I just couldn't leave it behind. That bitch don't deserve to have that. And she pulls out the book, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, I haven't even had a chance to open this. And with that, she kind of turns on the flashlight and opens it up to see what is actually in this journal or book or whatever it is.
Yeah, so, William, I think you're the anthropologist, aren't you?
Yeah.
Why don't you try an anthropology check?
Ouch.
It's so you're not exactly sure what language it is, but it is it's it's not English, that's for sure, and it's not some European, it's not a Latin-based language at all. It's some Middle Eastern or something. It it's it looks like a right to left script to you.
Mm. Yeah, he'll convey all that. And
Vaguely like Arabic, but not Arabic.
I'm not quite sure which language this is. Looks like a right to left script. Vaguely Arabic.
Oh.
I don't know.
Mm. Unless I speak it, not sure what it could be.
Well, that's disappointing, but I suppose not that unexpected. She kind of pages through it to see if there's any pictures. Or numbers. Well, I guess if it's in enough different language, they probably make their numbers differently, and she wouldn't know.
Yeah, so you...
If it's vague... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that the book has a black cover. It doesn't have a title on it, and it has a vaguely formal. It's not like some weird, hastily scribbled. It's very formal, and it has like red margins vertically. Kind of fencing the script, so it has sort of almost a like a temple vibe to it, something maybe religious is just the general sense. And you can thumb through it just looking for pictures or something. It doesn't look like it. No, it's just very fluid like Arabic. You don't recognize any of the words at all. But there is a page that has some English written in the margins. And I can show you that. There's a couple of sample pages, and the one has the English in the margins there.
1847. Does that say PAUSA 24?
That's probably what it looks like. You see what you see. It's not that easy to read. It's little scribbled handwriting.
1847.
And
then shall the
House
gate be
24. As the sun is blotted out, thus the small crawler will awaken those who dwell beyond and bring them. The sea shall swallow them and spit them up, and the leopard shall eat of the flesh in Rudrapraya in a spring. A spring. I bet that pauses a date, like a month that we don't know. Maybe it's a clue to what language this is. I bet there's spells in here or something.
next eclipse. Is there one in spring?
We're not in the spring yet, are we? Three.
I think it's... What is it? What month is it? I lost track.
The month and date right now, this would be May 14th.
Yikes. But it says 1847, and this is 1926, so I don't know. Maybe it's next spring. We can hope, because this spring's basically over.
Oh, I do. That or, well, it's 1847, right? Kind of past that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the date that was written.
Maybe.
It's really impossible to tell. We're going to have to find somebody to translate this. And she kind of opens the jar and sniffs at what's inside, sniffs the incense and everything, trying to get a feel for what those things are.
Okay. So let's see. So the jar, well, the incense cones, you know they would smell probably a little different when they were burning, but they have a, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a pleasant odor. It's kind of pungent to the smell. It's definitely not meant to be aromatherapy.
Well, that stinks like someone's ass, she says, kind of putting it down.
Yeah. And if you open the screw top jar, it's like a stoneware jar. It looks like it contains like a bunch of dried fruit in there, like fruit peels.
She'll smell those too, see if she recognizes it.
They actually don't smell like much of anything. You can't really pick out a definable odor, but they have a kind of dull green tinge. You can try either a biology or natural world check if you want to try to.
All right, she'll try it. That power roll I made was her deciding whether or not to lick it. And she decided that it's probably a bad idea.
I wasn't sure what success meant in that case. All right, you can try a biology or natural world. I don't think you probably have biology, but
She doesn't. But does anybody here have it? She says, does anybody recognize this fruit? Did any of us have any scientific...
I said natural world or
biology.
Definitely not biology.
And you can fall back on your education, but it's going to be a very difficult. I mean, anybody can try education just to see how lucky they are at maybe knowing, but that's a much harder prospect.
No,
just one person. Yeah, but basic success does not tell you anything. In this case.
Yeah, I won't roll because that's not how we do it.
No, I only let one person. Best person, or most applicable.
Well, I got no idea what this stuff is. She screws the lid back on the jar, but she had it locked up tight in a little dungeon of evil, so it must be something. And she picks up the... What did you say? It was an axe?
Yeah, it's not really an axe. It's like a... Your first impression is it looks most like a butcher's cleaver.
Oh yeah, cleaver, that's what you said. Does it look... She kind of shines the flashlight on it. Does it look special or just like a cleaver?
It has.
She's also
it has
holding this fly whisk.
Yeah, it has a It has an unusual look to it. William, you can try an anthropology again.
Oh no.
You are
I know exactly what this is,
You
Mr.
are-
Brain.
quite certain it is of southern French manufacture. No. No, I would say William just dismisses it as an ordinary cleaver. It doesn't look like anything special to him.
Yeah.
Although it does have like a little maker's mark on it, but the maker's mark doesn't mean anything to you specifically. Other than the fact that you say, well, this is clearly a maker's mark. You know, someone manufactured this, like they have in England. You know, if you manufacture a meat cleaver, the maker will
Yeah.
proudly put their mark on it to show that they manufactured it.
Does the mark look like letters or a shape?
It looks like a shape.
Does it look like a shape like the words in the book?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. She'll make a rubbing of it in
'Kay.
her little notes.
Yep. Yeah, made in China.
Made in India. So, well, no real revelations immediately after this. We're gonna have to find someone who can read this book, I guess, some other time. She starts to put things away. Ingrid, when we was down there, did you see anything I missed?
She looks at you a little curious and she says, I don't know. What did you see? If there's something you missed, I'm not sure.
You just,
You didn't see the mounds I saw.
well, not until you showed me.
Yes.
Yeah, you got a sharp eye there. She kind of nudges her playfully.
She shrugs, but you see just the slight curl upward of one of her lips.
But when we was on our way out, you kept looking behind at that statue. I guess maybe it's the small crawler.
I don't know what that is, but yes, perhaps. I don't know, there was something about it that was vaguely familiar, though I couldn't tell you exactly why.
Familiar.
I'm sorry, I cannot be more specific.
Maybe something you saw in a dream?
Perhaps. I'm not certain. It was more a feeling than anything. I'm not sure. There was a part of me that wanted to stay and study it more, but other part of me, much louder, I suppose, that wanted to leave and get away as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think leaving was the right idea.
William's been looking at both of them, kind of studying their faces, and he says, what did you see down there? Something... corpse?
There was, oh my gosh, William, Lottie, I can't even tell you how it smelled. I ain't never smelled nothing like that before in my life. Maybe because it was this space all closed up underground, but she looks over at Ingrid. I didn't spot nothing at first, but Ingrid saw. I think there's a lot of bodies buried down there.
Ingrid just nods. She says, from the looks of it, she keeps people down there. There were manacles and blood. And this butcher's knife suggests to me she kills people and buries them there.
Perhaps it wasn't such a bad idea to burn the place down.
Bitch deserves some payback. And Ingrid deserves some justice. She didn't get enough, to be honest, but maybe a little. Just a little.
She puts one hand on your arm, Maxine, and says, I have thought about it. I don't believe that Rodney will ever get justice. There's nothing that will make up for his loss. Killing that woman would not change anything. I don't even think she would feel any remorse or even be upset if we were to put an end to her. What kind of satisfaction would that be?
Maybe you're right, Ingrid. Maybe she'd be happy to die in service to whatever twisted fucking god she worships. But she smiles. I bet she does feel something when she goes home to see a fucking shop on fire.
Ingrid just nods, but she doesn't say anything.
William thinks about her standing in the street and watching them, and then looks over to Lottie, pats her hand, smiles at her.
Well, it's a bit concerning considering I had pictures, of course. I still don't know if attacking that woman was the best strategy. I just don't want her coming after us when we're doing all this.
And right when you say that, Lottie, a dark form appears in the doorway of the hut. It was very quiet. But William, you notice first. You can make a spot hidden.
I have a feeling I know who this is.
Is that me making spot hidden, or
It is William, yeah. Or rather, yeah, make a sanity check. William, is it? I'm gonna let you decide how you want to handle it, but your impression is this is the Indian woman. It may or may not be, but that's William's initial impression.
Oh, from the silhouette? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. He instantly jumps up and reaches for his gun. If he has time to, he'll pull it and aim.
He does,
but not
and
yet.
She's not moving. She's just like she was in the street, where she's just staring, and you think, you can see her eyes. It's very dark. There's no light in here. I mean, there's a small bit of light you must be using to look at things.
And Max has her flashlight turned on.
But it's just, this little tiny pool of light in the middle of the four of you. But she doesn't seem to react at all. She's just like a statue.
Yeah. William would definitely aim at her and at least shout to the others, "The witch!"
Yeah, I would say, his jumping up and pulling his gun would startle everyone.
Yeah, Max kind of jumps up with her flashlight and her fly whisk that she's been holding. Um, and shouts, "Who's there?"
And the woman steps forward into your your flashlight shines on her, and she puts one hand up to kind of shield her eye from the light. And she says, "You scare very easily."
Oh, hey, Jesus. All right, Joseph, it's just you.
You have come.
We have. We're ready this time. Put your gun down there, William.
Yeah, he's breathing heavily and kind of relaxes a bit, moving the gun down towards the ground.
You can see, Maxine, you're shining the flashlight and closest to the woman. You see her smirk a little at William. And she says, "You will be ready to leave in the morning."
Oh,
We will. We will.
and Ingrid, this is Wanjira. She's gonna be our guide.
Ingrid just nods and says, "Nice to meet you." And Wanjira just sort of, huffs a little at that, like she's not impressed. And she just says, "I will come for you when it is time," and she leaves.
Well, there's less ominous ways to take your leave, but whew.
William sighs and kind of puts his gun away slowly. Looks at the others.
It's okay, William. Don't worry. We're fine.
Ingrid whispers to Maxine, "Is he going to be all right?"
Max looks over at William and shrugs. Are any of us? I don't know. I think so. I hope so. William, you need to sleep. You're getting a little jumpy.
I suppose so. If I can.
Yeah, I don't know if he can. I would say probably not, but he can try. He can lie there and stare at the roof of the hut.
Yeah. Probably get close to Lottie and attempt to after some small talk for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She'll try to comfort him the best that she can. Pet his head and say, "It's fine, it's fine. You can sleep. You're all right."
As they're going to sleep, Max will kind of whisper a little to Ingrid. You know, we're going to be headed toward that mountain now. The mountain in your dreams. If you start to feel funny, like, you're going to tell me, right?
Funny? Like strange?
Yeah, like strange.
Maxine, I always feel strange now. I'm not sure I will know what to tell you.
More strange. Strange, like you feel like running off on your own. I don't know.
Yeah, she
Something
looks.
that you.
Yeah, she looks at you a little curiously and is considering what you're saying.
I
She
mean, the people.
says, "You think perhaps I will lose my presence of mind?"
Yeah, when we was here last time, some of the villages. Well, they got a headman here, and they was talking about how there's people like you. They'll have the dreams and they'll head to the mountain, and even though they know that they shouldn't, it's like they can't stop themselves. And I don't know. I worry that maybe there'll come a time where you feel like you ain't in control.
She considers that and nods a little soberly. Well, I will try to tell you if I start to feel I have thoughts of running off.
All right. I mean, that's all I can ask. It's a strange time for all of us. Just don't keep something to yourself just because you feel, I don't know, maybe ashamed of it or something.
Why would I be ashamed to tell you anything after that rambling confession you gave back at the chapel?
She grins widely. Yeah, that's true. And when you can see, there ain't much you can say that is going to shock me.
No, I think that is true. I will tell you if anything happens.
All right, then. She just kind of snuggles in and tries to sleep.
Yep, there's not a lot of time before sunup, but I don't know. Max might actually sleep. That's up to you. She's probably pretty tired. You're not sure
She
if Ingrid
feels
sleeps.
strangely safe here. Like there's enough distance between here and Nairobi that she
Mm-hmm.
feels some illusion of security.
Yep. You might be the only one that sleeps. Ingrid might, but it's not really clear if she does. In any case, for William and Lottie, the morning certainly comes maybe what seems a little too soon. You're tired and feel like you need to sleep but never got a chance to. And it's sort of the early hours of the morning. The sun is up, but just breaking over the horizon, and the woman reappears, and she says, "It is time."
Lady. Lottie struggles to get up to her feet, brushing her pants off. Okay. Let's get going.
Yeah, she gives a critical look over the whole group of you. Lottie has no illusions that her facial expression indicates disappointment.
Yeah, Maxine rises, rubs her eyes. I bet she's got like those wake up makeup raccoon mascara eyes.
Her war paint.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, well, in any case, when Jira heads, she's outside, she's got her spear, and just a small, like, cloth, rolled up cloth over her shoulder, kind of slung over it. She might have a couple things stuffed in there, but she doesn't have a lot.
Max will look at one here and start re-examining. Nah, do I really need to take everything here? Maybe leave behind one or two things that she considers maybe these aren't essential, but otherwise start putting the big heavy pack together.
Like, okay, so like, what about the books?
Like
The books are heavy. You brought the
Yeah.
books. Those alone are.
But they're
Are
very
weighty.
valuable.
Yeah, that's the question. I mean, it's pounds, extra pounds per person.
All this stuff we're not going to be able to read. Like, leave it here at the village, you thinking?
Yeah, maybe this Indian journal. Oh, you know what, William? You got a camera. Maybe you can take a picture of a couple pages. Just in case it's relevant.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But leave that. But I mean, the valuable books. Do we really want to leave those behind? Because when we might have to sell those just to get to Shanghai or wherever we end up going.
Ingrid says, "Who will buy those books?"
Well, I ain't an expert, but I've talked to people who are, and they're worth a lot of money.
The thing about books is someone has to want to buy them. Do you think you know someone here in this country that wishes to buy these books? You're not back in England or even the United States.
There was somebody in Egypt that did. There might be someone here. You got a point, but I mean, it's money, Ingrid. I mean, you told me yourself you're broke now, and they're worth thousands of dollars.
She just suddenly seems resigned and says, "We will do what you want, Maxine. If you think we should bring the books, then I say we bring the books."
Maybe we leave them here and hope we can come back to the village and get them. What do you guys think?
The books are just too much weight. I've been on trips like these before, and we're gonna get way too tired way too quickly. We need to leave them behind, just for our own sake. Unfortunately.
Max sighs and just kind of sets them down reluctantly. You think maybe old Bundari can keep them for us? They got secrets in them. He seems like the best person to keep them safe. Maybe we should just go ask. She'll take the books over to old Bundari's test and see if his assistant is there.
His assistant is awake, but you can tell it's early for him. And he says, "I thought they sold it. You had come back."
Yeah, we're getting ready to leave. And I know there's no love lost between us, but I think we're basically on the same side here. I have these, and she looks at them. These books, well, they're valuable for different reasons. They got secrets in them. Can we leave them here? I don't want to leave them somewhere where they might fall into the wrong hands, but also where they might not be safe. You're welcome to look at them yourself.
The books do not have dark spirits in them, do they?
She kind of looks at them. They was written by folks who had dark spirits, but at the same time they got clues on how to fight them.
You can see he just gives you sort of an untrusting look. He says, "You can leave them in the hut, but I don't want them here near my master if they have dark spirits. It will distract him."
All right. Although, if you really have questions, maybe you should. Well, I'll let you conduct your business. I thank you. Be safe, Okomo.
He just kind of snorts at that. There is nothing safe in these times.
Yeah, you can say that again. Gives him kind of a saucy salute and heads back to the group.
He just watches you go. He doesn't salute back or anything. He just... You can see Wanjira is getting increasingly agitated.
All right.
She says, "The sun is already up. It is time for us to go."
All right, let's go.
Okay, lead the way.
But, Wanjira, she says as they start to walk, can I ask, was Okomo born with the stick up his ass, or did someone, have to install it? She just kind of gestures.
She looks at you derisively and says, "I do not even know what you are saying. It is time to go." And she just starts marching off towards the tree line. And that is where we will stop.
All right.
Hi ho, hi ho.
Bum, bum.
It's off the mountain we go. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. Hi ho. Hi ho.